that all out before we start.
We've already started.
So, I have here a shot glass that says 37 to 97 on it. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I think you can see it. Yeah, see it? This is a shot glass from my grandparents' 60th wedding anniversary party.
That's so nice.
And that was when I was fairly young. I think I was in my teens.
Yeah?
My grandmother passed in 2003 because that was the year that I won nationals and I just barely made it to the tournament and then to the hospital. So they made it another 6 years after this. So that's 66 years married.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. You and
amazing.
We have no hope.
No, I think we'll...
Unless we live...
We've got another 60 years.
Well beyond 100 years old.
Yeah, well, I'm planning to.
Are you? You don't behave like it.
Look, I agree with our former president that if you exercise, you wear out your body. And the more sedate you are, the longer you're going to have good health.
It's like your energy is a finite number.
Yeah, it's like a battery. You're burning yours out.
Yeah, I did.
Whereas I'm conserving energy.
So you're going to last longer than I am? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, but I'm saying, I'm just describing my strategy.
Okay. We went to a brewery after our gig this afternoon. And I had a couple.
Yeah.
So we had a gig at the Oriental Theater with Cody Qualls. It was the first of 2 holiday gigs this year.
Right. Christmas matinee show.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a second. And then we went to
Berkeley Alley
Brewery.
Yep.
Just like walking distance from the Oriental Theater. And first we had like some typical beers. And then I saw this beer on the menu that was called like the Pucker or something.
Yeah, something pucker up.
Nut,
I don't know.
Pucker Nut? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Anyway, it was pistachio lemon meringue sour. And I was like, that looks horrible.
You wanted to try it because it looks terrible.
I was so curious.
Yeah, you were like, how bad is that?
That just sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And apparently it is an award-winning beer. And the bartender said it was his favorite on the menu. So I tried it, and it was really good.
It was amazingly good.
And you liked it too.
Yeah. A little sour, but also had that cream soda taste.
It did.
The finish of it was
finish
exactly
of like an orange cream soda.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so good.
It was so good.
So I wasn't going to have a second beer, but I did.
And then you brought up, and we should always remember this, to ask for recommendations.
Yeah, I should have asked for that to start with, because we only meant to have one beer. And so I had a Belgian something, golden.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I have to, like, even though we're closed out, I got to try this weird pistachio lemon meringue beer. And then I had to get another one.
It's just such a good lesson. You know, some places they don't like it, but a lot of places you should be like, I mean, the people that work there know what's good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel like we do that a fair amount in restaurants, though. You'll go like, here, I want, you tell me between these two things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We went to, what's that one by our house that's on, 44th? It's a new place. We went and I got the super dark beer the other night.
Oh, yeah. That is New Terrain.
New Terrain.
Yeah.
So we went there and I was in the mood for like a pretty heavy holiday sweet beer. So there were 2. One of them was like I don't know. I'm going to pull some. It was like one of them was like a hazelnut coffee chocolate beer.
Cracker. Yeah.
And the other one was something similarly sweet and dark. And I said, should I get this or should I get that? And the guy was like, without blinking, he was like, I would get this one. And I was like, oh, I hear ya. Yeah. I won't go near the other one. And then the one I got was still pretty heavy and dark. It was like a dessert beer.
But it's been great because, the weather's colder and it feels nice drinking, something warm and, or not warm, but thick and sweet.
Heavier,
So we were going to talk about the holiday show we just did with Cody Qualls.
Yeah. So I didn't tell you, but I texted Nate, my bass coach, right after the gig. And I said, I killed it.
You did.
I played the fuck out of this Christmas.
Did.
Sorry, Mom. I played the star out of this Christmas.
You out of really everything, you had a great night.
I had a great night.
Yeah.
Great
afternoon. Yeah, but
I think I literally hit one wrong note the entire set. And that's, so this is mostly an entire new set of music, 2 sets of Christmas music. Most of it was new.
It is a monster set. I mean...
And we got a lot of it pretty late.
Cody and the rest of us put together it's a beast of a set. I mean, in the best way. It's just got some, like, really impressive tunes, some tough ones. This Christmas, not an easy song. And Cody's pulling off a bunch of amazing vocal stuff. You have been talking about how, the prayer.
Yeah, I got to sing the prayer. This was the first time, and it went over great.
It went over great. I think it went over better than anything else the whole day. I mean, the response... Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about it a million times. The guest star is always going to, because you're the different thing, so the guest star is always going to get, but at the same time, you absolutely, between you and Cody, great.
The two of us,
we
killed it together. It was great.
But yeah, you had just a great gig on bass.
I did have a great gig on bass. I texted Nate that I feel like I'm in a growth spurt right now, and he had a great question, which was, what do you think made that happen or contributed to it? And my answer is that I've spent a little time lately trying to figure out how to get from one degree of the scale to the other in many different ways. So, like, from 1 to this 6, to this 6, to this 6, to that 6. And, I mean, I haven't even spent that much time, but I've tried, different degrees of the scale. How am I going to get from A to B in as many different ways as I can? And the small amount of time I've spent doing that, it made me more agile, thinking through the charts. So I was able to not just play the charts accurately, but play them with better choices about which octave I was in.
Right.
For every note. And so I just felt like I had a better, higher level view of the fretboard tonight.
Well, and you've been doing the numbers charts.
Yeah.
For kind of a while, so I'm sure you're just getting more and more comfortable with it specifically.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because I used to do, and I tell people when I teach guitar, not that I teach that much guitar, but when I do, I always tell people about, I used to sit around all the time and just go like, okay, a D chord, where's everywhere on the guitar? I mean, I would even just sit there like late night, watch TV or, Adult Swim cartoons and just like almost just look at the guitar and go, where are all the D's? Like, let me find every single, okay, and then G, where is every G? And it adds up.
Yeah.
It soaks in,
Yeah, I think I'm just having one of those little growth spurts where some work you've been putting in that doesn't feel like it's paying dividends suddenly does.
And that is the plateau thing that I talk about all the time, where it's like you kind of plateau and you're putting in work and you don't feel like you're getting better, and then bam, all of a sudden you're up on a higher plateau. And unfortunately, the longer you play and the longer you do music or whatever, the longer those plateaus get. It just takes more and more work to diminishing returns. So, great gig for you, not great for me.
Why do you think you had a not so great gig?
I think,
and I didn't notice, by the way. I thought you did fine.
No big reason. I was just really sweating. It was one of those things where I just got behind.
Yeah.
And
there was the prayer that was later. Was that first set or second set?
That was the first set.
Yeah. So. We realized that Justin was going to play bass on the prayer because I'm going up front to sing.
Right.
And it does swell to a full band production later in the song. And so we made a point of downloading the prayer's chart onto my iPad.
Right.
So that you could come over and play bass. But then I took the iPad up to the front for the lyrics because I don't have the song memorized yet. And we realized after you'd walked over to my position that there was no chart for you.
And that wasn't even really the main thing. There were just a couple things that happened where I just kind of got a little bit behind. I knew somebody was going to come visit.
Come on. Black pants, come on up.
Sometimes when you just get mentally behind and then you're, it's kind of like they say, it's not exactly the cliche, but like you're reacting, not being proactive. And I just was sweating my way through songs, and then just every song as it goes along, I was just a little more behind.
It's just a mental thing.
It was just a
mental thing. Because you're not literally
thing.
behind. I mean, the song ends, you have a chance to reset.
Right.
But I think you have a higher level of activation.
Right.
And nerves, and it just takes a moment to bring them down. But what could you do differently, do you think, if you get in a situation where your nerves are up because something bad happened that last song, but the next song is a kind of a clean slate?
That's a great question. I mean, I know I personally am terrible at that because one of my coping mechanisms is freaking out.
Every gig we go to.
Yeah.
Every gig, the last 10 minutes before leaving the house is, where's my stuff? Where's my stuff?
Yeah, yeah. And on stage sometimes, and it probably seems no one would notice, but I'm mentally like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But that kind of burst of adrenaline kind of helps me get through. I think, I should have just consciously reset and just gone.
The past is in the past.
Yeah. And to be fair, this was a set of not entirely new music, but 2 hours-ish where maybe only 3 or 4 of the songs we'd played before. Mm-hmm. And we did, we only had 2 rehearsals.
Yeah.
And things were just not that worked out. So, yeah, it was fine. I mean, I'm sure the audience didn't know, and I'm sure no one else knew.
I thought the show was great.
The show was great.
And it's a great building block for next year. It's, now we've got this behind us.
Very, very much.
I mean, the first show, there's still another show.
There's the show at Neezy's on
December.
the 22nd, in case Sheila or anybody sees this. Hi, Sheila and Yolanda. And Joanne. Yeah, it was great. And I'm sure it's going to be that much better. It's something we talk about all the time. Yeah. She was outside all day long. She snuck out this morning when we were going out. And
fortunately, it wasn't too cold today.
No, it was warm today.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is we talk about, the difference between doing something in rehearsal or practicing at home. And then you get it on stage in front of people, and it just seems so different.
It's always different.
And that was a classic example of that today for me, where it was just like, wow, this all seems really different. I know this song perfectly well, but just, the room feels different.
Yeah.
But Oriental Theater, we love being there.
Yeah. Jeremy on sound again. Love Jeremy on sound.
Love Jeremy on sound.
What was the monitor guy's name? Did you catch
Mark.
It? Mark, okay. Yeah.
So,
that was all great.
Yeah, that was great. I bought a Black Flag t-shirt because Black Flag was just at the Oriental, and I was telling Jeremy, I literally drove by. I was going to work somewhere. I don't even remember, but literally saw the marquee at 5 p.m. as I was going to work somewhere, and I was like, oh man, Black Flag is at the Oriental. I so want to go to that show, but I was, had to work. So I ordered a shirt so I could support them a little bit.
And you made sure to go to their website.
I did. Guys, that's another one. You got to be careful buying t-shirts because there are so many unlicensed t-shirts out there where you might think you're buying it's one of the reasons I haven't gotten a Joy Division t-shirt. Joy Division, another one of my 100 bands. I'm my absolute favorite. We laugh about that all the time. Every time a band comes up, I'm like, oh my God, I love them. They're the best. Anyway, I can't find a place to buy it that I'm sure that it's a ethical license
and benefiting the band,
benefiting
and not
the band,
some ripped off
logo, somebody just
you know.
Printing. And there are. It seems to me that most of the t-shirt places online are not licensed. They're just taking people's logos and printing t-shirts, and you know. Anyway, so that's the Oriental. That's and you know, we rehearsed for that just yesterday. That was Saturday. Saturday night, we're going backwards here.
Yeah, it's okay. Reverse chronological order this time.
We went and saw My Own Summer, and it was their final show. My Own Summer is a Deftones tribute band. And gosh, they have been doing it like 10 years, which is one of the reasons they were hanging it up is they've just done it a long time and they've done, it's gotten very big and whatever. They just felt they were good. And
our friend Brian Stacks is in that band, as well as David Stasny, of course.
Yeah, and Dan Buckley.
Right.
But it was so great to see Stacks mainly play guitar all night.
Yeah, he plays keys in most of what he does with us, but to see him rock out on guitar, he's such a natural rock star. Just like the way he just like moves around the stage, like it's so natural.
Star.
Like there's this difference between, and I mean, I'm not saying that any of the other guys in the Deftones do this, but like some people like try to be rock stars by like making sure they move on stage or making sure they do moves on stage, and it's, for some people it just looks natural. And, like, for all the Deftones guys, it just looks natural. I
was trying to think of how to describe it because, obviously, we coach performance and all that stuff. And I was like, what is the difference there? And I think maybe the difference is, or the way to describe it is the difference between performing and pretending to perform. And, like, Brian is in the zone of performing where it's just like he's not thinking about it. He's just doing awesome big guitar chops, jumping up and down. He's got a great jump that it's like super hard to do. Which the key for anybody, I was working with one of those teen bands and it shocked me that they didn't know that like how you jump up and down while you're playing is you like use your arm to like hold the guitar down so the guitar doesn't bounce.
Oh yeah.
And then you
otherwise the guitar goes like
yeah, you can't. So you like trap it down and then you can jump up and down. And they were like, oh, and I was like, what? How did you? I don't even know. I don't even know where I learned it, but maybe somebody told me. But it was so funny. And then one of them had hurt their ankle because they also didn't realize that when you jump off something, you do this move with the guitar, and it's so you can see under the
guitar. Oh, you lift the guitar up.
You go like this, so you can see under your arm in the guitar, and you can see where you're going to land. You don't just, like, jump off stuff.
And this newbie didn't lift up the guitar, so she couldn't see where she landed. So she
rolled her ankle, yeah. And they were like, oh. And I was like, yeah, think about every picture you've ever seen of, like, punk dudes jumping off stuff. They're always doing this twist move, and it's so you can see where you're going.
The stuff they don't teach in music school.
Isn't that funny? I bet they don't teach that in college.
I'm pretty sure they don't teach that in college.
Yeah. How to jump off stuff 101. How to jump off stuff with a guitar in your hands. Trust me, I've done it wrong plenty of times. I told you that great story. I don't think I told it on the podcast. There was a place in, I think, Macon, Georgia. This is years ago when I was a kid. And someone they had a skate rink, right? But they decided they were going to have shows. So they just built this stage on one half of the skating rink, and the rest of they just cut off like a fifth of their skating rink and
made a stage there?
Made a stage, this big, huge stage. And they would still do skating, but then they would do shows. And they made the stage like 5 feet high, and they made the drum riser like another 5 feet high.
Oh my gosh.
But it had these ramps that like went up either side to the drum riser. So there was this high stage and then these ramps that went up to this even higher drum riser. So if you were a, punky rock and roll band kid, you could run up the ramp and then jump off this drum riser.
They're inviting people to jump off a 5-foot height.
Yeah, you could really.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And one way or another, in coming down, I bonked myself in the head. I don't remember doing it, but as soon as I landed, I was like, whoa. I knocked myself silly with my guitar, and I still don't know what I did, but I jumped off the thing, and somewhere in coming down, maybe
you had the guitar up real high like this, but then the headstock came down on your head.
I don't know what I did. Yeah,
it
was yeah. So for a song, I was kind of like, let me turn the volume down and just pretend to play while I get my bearings again after hitting myself in the head.
Anyway, so we saw the
oh my God. A little bit of tangent.
We saw the Deftones tribute My Own Summer. at Oriental Theater last night, and I loved it, which I did not expect to love it. You know, we went to support, but I'm not a Deftones fan, so that's why I did not expect to love it. But I did. Let's see, why? Partly because of their video, which I'm really curious how they sync that up, because they didn't appear to be on a click, but that video was synced.
It absolutely was.
Oh man, there were moments where you knew it was synced.
Yeah, and you know, there was parts in the graphics where every time the snare would hit, it would like flash.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like very synced.
And really cool videos too, just not...
Doug Bohm.
Yes, yeah.
Did it, yeah.
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 And so stuff that was not on the nose. I mean, some of it was the music videos, apparently. Like from the original songs,
right. They were, yeah.
But not all of it. And just great stuff. But besides the visuals, which are, you know, a pretty thing to look at, there was like that lack of self-consciousness. There was just playing the music, and it was heavier music that I tend to like, but it had a floaty, swimmy feeling that I do like. Right. You were saying that it's kind of like a Morrissey, Smith's...
Yeah, even
Depeche Mode-y, sort of heavier version of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, their lead singer is definitely really influenced by that, even though they're a heavier, harder rock band. But it definitely has that, you know, it's kind of a weird, emo-ish.
So I loved it. Like, I loved it not because of, you know, the any particular song structure or or the way the set went in terms of its flow, the way we're always talking about that. I liked it because of the entire emotional world that band inhabits.
Right.
It's this like dark, but
floaty.
Still floaty and not totally dark, but like this, it's just a place I want to be.
Yeah.
And so it was like the entire show was kind of a snapshot of an emotion that I could like explore and be in and be kind of dark. And it made me feel young. It made me feel like I was in high school. And when I used to like...
They're very...
Dress goth for a little bit.
Yeah, they're very... But those guys did just great.
Yeah. And we saw so many people we knew. That was like a reunion.
That was so great. We saw Bobby from Stone Beat.
And we saw, Stasny and Brian, of course, because they're in the band, and Buckley.
Yeah.
And Ninja and her husband. So Ninja took a lesson or two with me, but she was a Guitar Villains singer.
Okay.
Erica is her real name.
Right.
She goes by Ninja. And I saw Jenny Decker and Ryan Miller, who I used to be in Guitar Villains with.
Ryan, we actually got to hang out a little bit. We referenced Ryan a little bit ago. He is in Just a Girl, the No Doubt thing, and we were talking about him and what a rock star he is because he's been touring.
He has a European tour coming up.
European tour with his metal band, The Anchor.
Yeah, they're going to tour Europe for a month, and then they're co-touring with another band on their label, the band from the UK. I don't know their name, but the Anchor and this UK band are going to tour Europe for a month, and then they're going to come over and tour stateside for a month.
Yeah, so which is really cool. Amazingly cool. But it was it was quite a reunion.
Yeah, Cody was there.
And
who else? Michelle Owen Clemenson.
Okay.
I mean, it was a Guitar Villains reunion.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and really solid crowd. I mean, it was over 200 for sure.
Yeah.
So that was great to see them.
Yeah. Guitar Villains being the only band I've ever been the keyboard player for.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about some band stuff. We're going to talk about band stuff.
We're going to load up some episodes that we will release while we're on vacation in February.
Right.
So we'll save Guitar Villains.
We'll stay some. Yeah.
Let's see. So what else did we do?
Gosh, I had a great recording week.
Yeah?
Yeah, did a number of things. Finished up a special track for Cody that's going to his Patreon people.
Which one?
Purple Reindeer.
Oh, yeah, we played that tonight.
Right, so we did a production of that, and that is going to be available for his Patreon people, patreon.com. And worked with a couple of new to recording people, one of them being Jana, who sings backup for Cody. And we were working on a song she wrote. Another situation that I find myself in a lot where someone has written a song with no musical accompaniment. So she just came in with a song she was singing, and we put some chords behind it, and it turned out to be this very cool Lana Del Rey, Phoebe Bridgers, kind of also with a Star is Born era Lady Gaga kind of Americana, but with some like, drifty stuff. Pop Americana, I guess. Taylor Swift, of course, did a couple albums like that. Folklore. Yeah, and it was just a blast. First time songwriter, first time recording, and we just came together like, amazingly well. Which it's a pretty good song, and boy is it. You don't have to do much when the song's, when the song just works. It's like, let me find the chords, and then we're all but done.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really, really cool. Really cool. Great song. And I find, speaking of practicing that, finding chords for other people's songs, I was never bad at, but over the past 5-ish years, I've been doing so much more of that it has just become like easier and easier to just go like, okay, I hear what you're, I hear what goes behind that.
Yeah. And you're working with one of my students tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
to do the same thing.
Looking forward to that.
New songwriter. She came in with completely scored, like chords and melody lines and lyrics, completely finished songs.
Well, that'll be fun. That's kind of
ready to work. She just needs to work at the production and then record them, and then we can go back and work on. Well, she needs to record the track bed, and then we can work on the vocal approach.
Right, and that often is so beneficial to have that time, and doing the same thing with Caitlin Clickman.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's been a lot of that going on. It's really great. It's so. I would just encourage, like, not that anybody needs to work with me, but if you think you have a song, you do, like, and you don't need to be like some big artist or have developed this thing or have a band or any of those things. You can really like finish your song and have a song. And I can say from experience, it's so satisfying getting an idea and then pursuing it and then having a final product. I mean, that's just so satisfying.
I wish I had known someone like you back in like 2009, 2010, before I met you, when I was trying to do music seriously, but I'd only just begun starting to use Logic Pro, and I'd only just begun starting to like piece together songs with chords and write anything. But like, I just didn't know how to turn these fledgling ideas into a recording.
Right.
And now you've got all kinds of people like that coming to you.
Well, and there's such a barrier too. You would have to learn to use the software to a high enough degree that you could effectively do stuff. And you do know that now, but
now,
it does. Yeah. And again, it's not just me. There's guys all over the place that can do that.
Let's see. We have a show with Petty Nick's Experience at the Buffalo Rose.
Yeah, that's going to be so great.
Friday or Saturday?
It is Friday.
I thought so.
Yeah. I'm going to be excited to be at the Buffalo Rose.
We're doing some Christine McVie songs since Christine.
I was going to mention,
last week.
Yes. Yeah. Christine McVie, songwriter, keyboard player, vocalist for Fleetwood Mac, sang a lot more of those songs than I thought, really, until I started going back. She probably had more songs than Stevie.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately,
that's why we don't do more Fleetwood Mac in our sets.
Right, because so much of it is Christine.
Yeah.
But brilliant songwriter. Boy, I as you do, I went back and listened after that news came out because I was like, oh gosh, I'm not sure that I know enough of the catalog as I should know, and a lot of really big songs.
You did know
hers.
The catalog.
Yeah. A lot of really big songs were hers. I didn't realize.
Absolutely.
Tell Me Lies.
Yeah. Tell Me Lies.
Yeah, we heard that on the radio.
Lies.
Yeah.
Is that the one I'm singing? Tell Me Lies.
No, we are doing You Make Loving Fun and Tell Me You Love Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, we're not even doing that song.
Yeah. We could. Anyway. We got Buffalo Rose. I got going into the studio with Ipecac, gonna do some punk rock, punk metal stuff. Yeah, things are clipping along.
Yeah, Performance High is growing like crazy.
We talked a lot about that just tonight.
Yeah, and I got a text from someone. So I posted in Sound Structures, there's no lobby, but like in the entryway, that we are looking to share space with existing bands at Sound Structure, because there are like 26 studios and we have 3 of them, but we need more space. And we've been on the waiting list for a new room since July, and these rooms don't turn over very often. So I've had this flyer up, and now I have keys to 2 more studios, plus I'm in discussions with 2 other studios, meaning rooms, to use their spaces. So we are basically going to start using all of the unused hours in all of the rooms of Sound Structure. We're going to just expand. Like, bands rehearse nights and weekends, and we mostly need daytimes.
Right.
So I'm thinking, in the absence of being able to find a commercial space that's viable for us, we might just kind of like spider out into the entire building. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like your model, of not taking on too much stuff, like the Parker location, and But it's so great because things are growing, and we had a dynamite. You were so good. You had your yearly staff meeting.
Yes, we did.
This podcast is sponsored by Performance High
Voice and Music Studio.
Voice and Music Studio. Boy, I should know that.
It changed a couple times. It's been Performance High forever, but Performance High exactly what? Yeah. Performance High Voice and Music.
And you led...
we had our biannual staff meeting.
Staff meeting, and so it's so great to look back at the year and so many of the exciting growth numbers, and...
We're doing better than we've done since 2019, when we were on a roll.
Right, which is amazing that it's taken this long to come back. And Kristen Page, of course, doing an amazing job there, along with Raylan and Kelly and everybody, and maybe you a little bit, I don't know. And I just thought it was so great, too. You took the time to talk about the philosophy, and I think that's maybe the real strength behind Performance High, is you have such a clear vision for the culture and the philosophy and just the type of place you want it to be.
It's never changed. It's always been a place where I want teachers who could have their own studios.
Right.
Because they're good enough, they're smart enough, they're organized enough to choose to work at Performance High. So I've wanted it to be a place where great teachers choose to work, even though just the numbers make it that I can't pay you 100% of what the clients pay us, because there's overhead. There's real estate, there's insurance, there's admin. But that's been my vision. I know I'm in competition with the option to teach on your own and make 100% of what clients pay. Mm-hmm. But like in any industry, if you are an independent contractor, half of your time is spent getting business and managing your business, and only half of it is actually spent providing the service that you provide. So, I'm trying to keep up that equation, more or less, in Performance High.
And keep the culture with the showcases and the being able to, learn from each other and all the stuff you've got going on. Yeah, I was very impressed with that. Mm-hmm. So, takeaways, I'm going to go with I should probably relax. How many times is that my takeaway? It's always my takeaway.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you said that before?
So often, like we've talked about, the way I'll over-prepare or do all the guitar sounds and tones. And and I think today, another example of me, just kind of it was fine. I was just stressing a little too much.
Do you think your performance suffered because of your stress level?
It's hard to say. It could have been better because I was stressing and really focusing and whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But I probably didn't need to stress. It would have been just fine if I had just, it's it's just guitar overall.
Yeah. Do I have any takeaways? I don't think I have any takeaways because I'm feeling a little buzzed right now. Finished those 2 beers and I've just about finished this shot.
So, we've been all over the place.
It hasn't been bad till now. It's been pretty good until now, and now I'm like...
running out of gas. Guys, thanks for listening.
All right. See you guys next week.
Bye.